Alright, so next stage of the Valiant. So as you've seen, I've got a heap of welding done on this, got all the rear window frame all fixed up, all the rust repaired in there, got the hard lid thing all welded up and that, so that's all sorted. Got all the front cab part into epoxy, which is starting to feel good that this is moving along towards the bodywork stage. So next step is going to be the floor pans. So get the floor pans done in this, so then I can get all that floor and interior all painted. So it'd be floor pans, chassis connectors, firewall, cowl, engine bay. So move forward with the metalwork. But got two nice new floor pans in there, ready to mark out and get those. Get the floor cut out, get those in, get them all welded in, and move on. So it's enough of me waffling on yet again. Let's get stuck in, get these marked out, get them all welded in, and see where we're at after that. Alright, got the floor pans on the other side cut out. So as you've seen, it was pretty wild getting that one out because the rust pitting in that side, for the life of me couldn't find the spot welds. It was an absolute nightmare. So what I'm trying not to do is run the spot weld drill through the bottom of the rail into the floor pan, because I don't want to plug weld it back in through the bottom of the rail. I want to drill the holes into the floor pan. That way then when it sits on top, I can put the nice plug welds across the top of the sheet metal, so I'm not drilling holes in the rails. So I'd really prefer to drill holes in the new sheet metal and plug weld the sheet metal to the rail, not the rail to the sheet metal. So million and one ways to do it. That's just how I do it, how I prefer to do it. It's a lot nicer, a lot cleaner, and I feel like it's the better way of doing it for myself. So, but this other side isn't anywhere near as bad. So I'll give you a quick look. So it's not as bad. It's got a lot of rust pitting, but as you can see, I've drilled out a fair few of the spot welds already that I could see through the top. But for the ones I can't find, I've run a drill, just a 3mm bit, just through the center of the spot weld in the rail. So the rail does now have like a little 3mm hole in it. That's just purely so I can locate these spot welds on top and drill the spot welds out nicely. So that little 3mm hole will get filled up when the plug weld goes through, and it'll be all happy days. So getting through it, but that's just something I thought I'd just sort of stop what I was doing for a little bit and just give a little bit of an explanation as to what's going on. So you would have seen in the time lapse where I was underneath the car cleaning it up with the wire wheel and drilling the 3mm hole through the spot welds in the rail to locate them on the top side. So that's just a location hole, so I'm not trying to find in all of this rust pitting a tiny little spot weld hole that's been half eaten away. But plan is now to finish drilling out the top of the spot welds in the floor pan on this side. This side's so much better. That's why I did that. I always try to do the hardest part of something first. If I do the hardest part of something first, because that floor pan was massacred, so it was a bit of a like where everything is, how it all works, and that with that other floor pan. I did try to get it out in one piece, but like I just could not get it out in one piece, that one. This one shouldn't be too much of a drama. I should be able to just pluck this out in one piece and it'll be nice and easy, but I don't intend on using these at all. They're just scrap metal. So, but I don't throw any of the metal from the cars away till the cars are fully finished, because I never know what I need. Even though it's messed up, I may need it for a template. I may need to mock off something for that, so I try not to throw, like I still have all the sheet metal for the wheel tubs put away in the back shed, so I still have all of that stuff. So when this car is completely finished, then all of that stuff goes to scrap metal. So I always keep all of the sheet metal from everything I work on. Even the crown, kept all the sheet metal that I've cut out of it and all of that stuff. I never throw anything away till I get that section of the car all finished, and I know for a fact that like hell or high water, that ain't going back in the car or needing to be used for a template whatsoever. So I really could throw out the wheel tub sheet metal, but at this stage it's tucked away in the back shed nice and neatly. I don't need to worry about it. So let's get cracking. Let's get this other floor pan out, and then I will go over the next steps of what I intend to do with prepping all of this. I forgot to turn the other camera off. What I'll do with prepping all of the... Who is calling me? Seriously. I bet you I know who's calling me. He calls me all the time. Alright, anyway. That's finished. I'll deal with that in a second. Sometimes things can go in a text message and I'll get back to them later. You know, I don't like phone calls. I'm not a people person. Anyway, all right, so yeah, I'll go over the other side, over the next plan after I get this floor pan out. So let's get this floor pan cut out, and then we'll get deeper involved into what the next few steps are to get these new nice floor pans into this ute. So let's do some work. Right, so both floor pans are out, and yet again I couldn't get that out in one piece, so had to be cut down the middle to get to all the spot welds. There was a couple that weren't visible on the bottom side of the rail that were lost in the rust pitting. So next step, going to use this trusty product that I've used for a long time, the KBS Coatings Rust Seal. So this is a great product for sealing up areas that, like inside of these rails right here, So I'm about to wire wheel all of these rails up inside and get all of those treated with the rust seal. So that stuff's designed to go directly to bare metal and it's cured by moisture. Read the tin, look it up, KBS rust seal. It's really good for this sort of thing. So what it'll do is it will seal all inside these rails, and it's just something that really, where I can get to anything, I did it in the back, as you would have seen. I sealed up in the back, then used the weld through primer around where I was welding all the rear panel back into it. So this one, I will do the rust seal and then get the weld through primer on everything, and then start setting these floor pans in and get those trimmed up, ready to start welding those in fully. So it's not taking too long so far. This has just been a few hours work just getting them out. The longest part is usually just all the cleanup and stuff, like getting into the detail areas, like inside of all of these like rails and braces and the structure, just to make sure that this car is going to last as possibly long as we can get it to last, short of, like I said, cutting every panel off the car and basically building a brand new Valiant ute. So best thing to do, just when you can get to it, get it sealed up with either epoxy or some sort of paint product. That way then you know that, like, inside of all of this, which was never done from factory, has got some sort of coating on it to make it last just that little bit longer. Like, we've got the technology these days, the stuff's not that expensive, like it costs about 80 bucks for a litre of that, and just to brush it onto all of these areas will make it so much nicer of a job at the end of all of this. So anything I work on, I try to make everything last as long as I possibly can make it last. Nothing lasts forever, but if you can do the best, then that's all you can do. So gonna get these rails cleaned up and see where we're at after that, and try and get these floor pans all into position and trimmed up. So let's get busy again. guys, that's it for this video. So got the floor pans all finished off. They're all welded in. Well, not finished off. I have to put this onto the hoist to finish welding out the underside of all the floor pans and everything like that, clean it all up and get the underfloor into epoxy. But first, as you'll see, I'm in my nice welding jacket. I am in the midst of doing the chassis connectors. So I'm about to put this over onto the hoist to finish off welding out the chassis connectors to the sheet metal. So they're fully welded into both ends of the factory chassis rails. So they're all strong and solidly welded in. So this is about to go pop onto the hoist once I switch the crown and this one around and get all that finished off. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm not going to bother finishing off the underfloor pans because I will add that into the chassis connector video, which I'm currently working on now. So, but floor pans are looking great. They're all in there, all done, looking pretty sweet. Got the doors back on. So I had to put all the doors back on and just slightly gap those up just a little bit so I can make sure that chassis connectors don't actually move any of this frame when I'm welding them all in. But everything's sweet. Doors are opening and shutting perfectly fine now. No dramas whatsoever. So next video, keep your eye out, will be chassis connectors on this thing. They have been quite a simple task, but not simple, straightforward, just put them up to the floor and weld them in. Nothing's ever that easy. So keep your eyes peeled for that video. That one's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So that's it for this one. Yeah, that's it. Floor pans are done. Valiant's moving. Pretty stoked. Getting closer to bodywork, which means getting closer to paint, which means getting closer to getting it out of my shed. So keep your eyes peeled for the next few videos. We'll catch you on the next one.